Hi, this is Shandra. If you didn't see my Watchminder 3 unboxing video and you're curious about what's inside the box, I've got the metal tin it comes in sitting right here. Go back and watch it. It's very short because there's not a whole lot inside the box. It's a watch. But I want to talk for a second about the Watchminder 3 because if you don't know what this device is like, you haven't used it before, I'm going to tell you candidly what my experience is. I have a love-hate relationship with the Watchminder. So I've got the manual out and I'll be referring to it a little bit. It doesn't look like there's been a lot of changes from the old manual. So if you've used a Watchminder 1 or 2, you're probably familiar with the basic functions. It doesn't look like a whole lot has changed except for the charging port. It used to be a clip, now it's like a little thing you set it into. My initial impression is although they've clearly tried to modernize it and make some changes to the way the watch charges, I still don't love it. It doesn't feel super secure, and I think for the population that might be using the Watchminder, that getting the right side put in the charger the right way and clicking it in without breaking it when you take it out might be a little bit complex, but I'm just testing one out now, so I haven't a lot of experience with it. It just feels a little fragile, and I think that this is one of those things that mom and dad should probably manage, making sure it gets charged every night if this is something that you're going to use with your child. Now, just because I just said child, obviously a Watchminder is good for all ages, and we use them a lot with children, but they also can be used with adults. So what a Watchminder is it's a vibrating watch that gives you messages throughout the day. It was developed by a child psychologist, D Becker, and with working with kids with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, you can use it with people with cognitive disabilities, learning disabilities, dementia, memory problems. It really just is a reminder watch that gives you a physical wrist vibration. So if you want to set those a reminder, you want to set reminders and the kids in class, and the reminder might say something like pay attention, that the reminder isn't beeping and the watch isn't making noise and bothering everyone. It's a subtle wrist vibration. The first thing that comes to mind obviously is, well, smartwatches do that. Well, typically where I'm going towards a Watchminder is it's with a population that can't manage all the functions of a smartphone or a smart device, or a smartphone might be a distraction for them. So this is an older tech, kind of low tech device. Also, if you're using it for employment, a lot of employers are very wary about having smartphones and smartwatches and all the connectivity that implies. So once again, this could be the solution. I want to go through some of the manual here a little bit. I've got the watch charging. If you watched my unboxing, you saw that I was having trouble getting the micro USB port plugged in. I ended up having to go get a different cable. So the cable that came with it, I could not get it to go in the port, changed out the cable, and now it's charging and it looks fine. The reason I say I have a love-hate relationship with them is I find them incredibly difficult to set up. Now, if you had an old Casio watch or your old traditional watch, you might find this easier. But in today's world, we're so used to like clicking in apps in our phone and dragging and dropping and being able to quickly type things, that going back to that kind of old school method of pressing and holding buttons and all that can be a little complex. The other thing that I don't like about the watch is the limitation of the screen size. So I saw a lot of articles comparing the Watchminder to another device called a Revibe. And just at first glance, the Revibe let you write a short sentence. So I think as far as understanding the reminder, maybe the Revibe is better. Plus it looks kind of like a Fitbit, it's a little sleeker. But there's a big cost difference. It's double the cost of the Watchminder. So one of the benefits of the Watchminder has always been the low price point. And again, you don't want to buy your child a very expensive device if they can't keep up with it. So having an inexpensive entry cost might be an important factor. So setting up the watch itself and setting the date and the time is a lot like your old-fashioned watches of pressing and holding buttons. It is worth noting that you set the time on a 24-hour clock, even though it'll still display a 12-hour clock, right? It feels a little weird. There is a backlight, so when the reminder goes off, aside from the vibration, also lights up the screen a little bit. So there are 15 preset training mode messages. But when I looked on the website, it says there are 65 messages. Let me see if I can verify that difference. And that's important to know because setting up the messages is difficult. And I'm gonna get them scrolling on the screen so you can see what they are. But they're very basic because you are limited in screen size. When I used a Watchminder 2, like you can't type the words pay attention because your personalized messages that you want to create, you get 12 of them. You only get 8 characters. So P-A-Y, a space, A-T-T, you can't even write the word attention. So for this being a device to remind people with learning disabilities, cognitive impairments, ADHD, and focus, having a message that could be cryptic can be a downside. So I'm looking at some of their built-in ones. Chores, bedtime, books, go work, go sport, go school. Instead of homework, they put HW/study. So I don't think they could even get the whole word homework out. Be positive with no space. Yeah, they've got pay attention as a built-in message and it's pay space ATTN. Smile, stop. So that's one of the things you've got to understand. You're going to look at the website or you're going to look at reviews and you're going to be like, oh, great, I can give messages and reminders to my kid. You need to know it's only 8 characters. And then you also don't get an unlimited amount of messages. So 12 personalized messages, 15 preset messages. It is waterproof. That's nice. It says don't dive or go swimming or do anything strenuous in it, but if the person wearing it is washing their hands and gets a little water splashed on it, it's probably going to be okay. So they're listing in the manual that the population or the group that this device might be good for is ADHD, learning disability, the elderly, someone with a chronic illness. That's because of all the medication reminders you could take. Brain injury and stroke, medication compliance, deaf and hard of hearing, probably because of the vibration aspect of it. Behavior modification and self-monitoring, independence training and vocational rehabilitation. That's the environment that I've used it in. Research, data collection, and clinical trials, and assistive device for 504 plans. That's good to know. So you can set up to 30 reminders a day. So, 30 is a lot, but if you were using like an app on a phone with a smartwatch, you might have unlimited reminders. So you're limited to 30. So you got to think that through. If you have a person that you really need a lot of little reminders, just the morning routine. Get dressed, brush teeth, comb hair, wash face. I guess just go get breakfast. Let's assume that somebody made it for them, but get breakfast. Get your backpack, catch the bus, walk into school. You can see I haven't even gotten to class yet and I might be a third of the way through the reminders for the day. So keep that in mind, 30 reminders for the day. The other aspect of the watch is you were supposed to be able to set some randomness to it, that it didn't have to be at a set time. I noticed in the training mode that it will do a reminder every 15 minutes. But I thought before that you could set some randomness to it so you could have it say pay attention randomly throughout the day. And that's always been a difficult thing for even apps to accomplish. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to try to set this up. My love-hate relationship comes with actually programming in the messages. This is not going to be something that the user can program and set up independently. It's going to take an adult or a provider to set the schedule, figure out what they want and when. So I've used this with adults going to work, and so I'll typically ask, you know, whoever's in their life to make out a list of their routine and the important reminders they need, and then, you know, I set it up at home before I take it to them and, you know, show them how to use it. I have not ever had any of these watches returned, and I really have never had any complaints from people I've recommended it to, other than the old charging port. I had several people that the charging port, they needed to get a new cable, and that was when it was the clip kind. I just don't know what the compliance is like in my environment. I don't get to follow along very closely, so I hope it was working out, but I really don't know. I encourage you to read reviews. I think this is a great starting point. If you'd like us to make more videos like this, please like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks, I hope this helps.